Hi there, welcome. Thank you for joining me on today's webinar. My name is Sarah Madras and I'm the founder of Esteem Builders Coaching. As a licensed mental health therapist, I've spent the last 14 years studying psychology and human interaction. And so basically what that means is that I am the keeper of everyone's secrets, right? The secrets of how they truly feel about where they work, what they truly think about their boss, and what they truly think about their relationships, their marriages, parenting. Everybody's secrets and their real truths have been shared with me for the last 14 years. And now I take all of that knowledge and experience and I help organizations to create a thriving company culture where employees feel valued and appreciated and employers make more money and have less headaches. And on today's webinar, we're going to be talking about employee retention without raises. Now, I kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship, and that happened back in 2007. And I'm sure, like many of you who stumbled into entrepreneurship as well, it kind of happens because you see a need and you want to fix it. And when I started out, the need was that mental health was a disaster in North Carolina. And people were popping up and anybody could open up a mental health facility, whether they had the background or education or whether they were licensed or not, and could provide mental health services. And so right out of college, I was working for these different companies and I kept seeing all this unprofessional, unethical, and just inappropriate things. And I said, whoa, I do not want to be a part of any of this. And I knew that in order to not be a part of it and to create a benchmark of place where people could get services that were ethical, that were professional, and with high integrity, that I had to go out on my own. And that's what I did. And so the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you today are based on the last 10 plus years of being an entrepreneur and owning a counseling center with employees of my own. And so what makes my situation unique is that all the employees that have worked with me, they are contracted employees. They're contractors, which means they're 1099. So it is 10 times even harder to have good employees, to find good employees and retain good employees, because as 1099 contractors, they're not receiving health benefits or PTO or anything like that. And so I feel like that may have started out as a challenge, but I have been able to turn it into even more of a blessing because it shows that the things that I'm going to share with you today actually work. Because the employees who are on my team have been with me from the beginning, and 10 plus years, a lot of them, and have given me feedback that these are the things that they appreciate the most about where they work. And so I'm going to, because I know lots of people like visuals, so I'm going to screen share with you a PowerPoint, and you'll still see me in the corner and hear me talking. And so let me just open this up for you guys. And we're going to get right down in and dirty because I know as entrepreneurs, we are all busy and we only have a limited amount of time to attend these webinars. And so I want to make it valuable for you. And I want to make it something that you can absorb quickly and you feel that it was not a waste of your time, that it was extremely beneficial. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's get started. Alrighty. So as business owners, we always want to know, well, what is the ROI? So the ROI that you're going to receive from this webinar is that your employees are going to have increased motivation. They're going to have increased contributions, become more high performing, less stressed, less 6 days, which cost you money. They're going to have better customer service and better relations with their customers, which increases your money, improved team relations, decreased turnover, and we know that turnover costs thousands and thousands of dollars for companies, on average about $20,000 per employee turnover. And it also causes you stress as the owners and the managers of the company because you have to recruit, you have to do onboarding and new training and things like that. So this webinar will create less stress for you as owners and managers. You'll be creating mutual trust with your employees and your team, which equals more freedom for you, more time for you, less mental strife and less mental work, increased sales, less wasted money, and overall more money in your pocket. And who doesn't want that, right? As entrepreneurs, we want to make a difference and serve, and we also need to make a living and serve our families. So today is going to be not just about retention, but about high performance. So the key to this is for employees to feel valued and appreciated, because that creates a sense of connection and belonging to your company and organization. That creates that loyalty where employees will stick around regardless of if they received a raise or not. And the thing with my business too, it's not that I don't want to give my employees amazing raises, because I adore them. I'm so grateful for them, and I wish I could, spoil them with all kinds of raises. But in our industry, mental health is regulated by insurance reimbursement. So I can only pay up to which the company is being reimbursed by the insurance company. And over the years, the reimbursement rate for insurance companies has actually decreased. So I've had the challenge of retaining my amazing employees, even though the amount of money that they are receiving is actually less because the insurance is paying us less. And so I had to get creative and come up with these creative ideas to create a culture that they wanted to stay in, to create an environment that they wanted to do their best services and do their best work. And so there's 4 steps. And it starts with step 1 of the interview process. And then step 2 is establishing trust. Step 3 is personalization. And step 4 is the little things equal big impact. And at any point throughout this webinar, feel free to take out your cell phone and screenshot any of the slides that you see. So now in the interview process, from day 1, when I bring people in, I kind of fish through the resumes that I get online and things like that. And then when they come in for the interview, we have a very frank and very direct discussion that we are in this together. And I'm very clear with understanding and knowing that as a business owner, that I am able to feed my family based on the work that my employees do, just as they're able to feed their family based on the customers and clients that I bring into the company. So if I'm not out there marketing or promoting, if I'm not out there creating a good service and a good brand that has a great brand reputation, we're not getting new clients in, then I can't give them any customers, and then they can't make money to feed their families. So I make it very clear to them that I'm aware that it's a mutual, we are coexisting, right? We are dependent on each other. And the more they rise, the more I rise. And if I fall on my job and don't provide the clients for them, then that's costing them money. And I know that then they can't provide for their families. So we're very much in this together. And then I also stress to them about how I want to make the work environment feel like their second home. A lot of times, especially in corporate organizations, you're at the office at least 40, if not more hours a week. And so I want that to feel like home to them. And that includes if they wanted certain artwork on the wall, if they wanted a different office chair, letting them bring in, if they wanted to have diffusers to have essential oils, things like that. If they wanted things to create their office space to be their home, then I encourage that and I provide those resources for them. So those are ways to help in the interview process of creating that sense of loyalty and my commitment to them as well as their commitment to me. Next is step 2, which is establishing trust. Now, establishing trust is within itself a whole other workshop. It's actually one of my signature workshops that is the most desired workshop that I do. So today I'm just going to kind of cover what it means to have clear expectations, create autonomy, and having the employees back. So in the beginning, I want to be really clear with the employees of setting the expectation. And what that means is letting them know what the boundaries are. And I literally give them a chart that says what is okay, what is not okay. And it outlines the expectations so clearly from day 1 when they're signing their employment contracts. It's not okay to not return client phone calls same day. It's not okay to show up late for appointments. It's not okay to treat the clients with anything other than respect. And then it shows it is okay to reach out for guidance and help. It is okay to come and talk to me if you need extra support. And so I very clearly have the expectations of what will not be okay and what is not tolerated. And what I've noticed in working with other companies is this is where they trip up. They think that, well, of course, you can't not show up to a scheduled appointment. Like, that's unprofessional. Every employee would know that. But that's not the case. And if we don't outline it very clearly from the beginning, then our employees don't know what we value. They don't know what we take seriously. And they think, oh, well, I'll just meet with that client another day. Or, oh, I'll just call that customer tomorrow morning. And so we have to be very clear about our expectations, even though it may seem like basic or a no-brainer to us. It's important to outline it to our employees so that they know what's expected of them. And that way they're not as anxious, right? And any type of relationship, if we know what's expected of us, then we know, okay, this is okay to do here, but it's not okay to do over there. It's okay to wear this on Fridays, but it's not okay to wear that on other days. And so it creates this blueprint, which makes people know, okay, I don't have to be anxious that maybe I'll get in trouble for this, or maybe I won't, or maybe this was okay one day, but then it wasn't okay another day. So it decreases anxiety when we're really clear about our expectations of people. And then also creating an atmosphere of autonomy. And so what I see happen a lot of times with companies is they're, especially entrepreneurs, is that this company is like our little baby, and it is so hard to relinquish some of that authority because it can have direct negative impacts on us, right? And so things like having to be copied on every single email, that shows your team that there is a lack of trust. And it actually creates more workload for you because then your inbox is flooded with emails that maybe you don't even need to be a part of because trusting in your team to handle that customer relationship, okay? So being able to say, yes, I believe in you and I don't need to micromanage you. I don't need to be copied on every email because quite frankly, I don't want to be copied on every email because then that's just more stress of seeing the little bing, bing in my inbox all the time. And so another thing I do is because I've outlined clear expectations, they're aware of what their job is, but I don't run behind them and tell them how to do their jobs. I don't run behind the therapists on my staff and tell them how they need to do therapy. I don't tell them what therapy practices they need to do in each client session. So I'm not micromanaging them and telling them how to do their job. I'm telling them these are the expectations and the parameter of your job, and you have the autonomy within that bridge. So think of it like a suspension bridge, right? If a suspension bridge doesn't have the cables on the outside and the walls on the outside, then the suspension bridge will wobble. It feels unsafe. You feel unsteady when you're walking on it. But when you have the cables and you have the walls, you can move within the bridge. You can go all the way to one side, then all the way to the other side, and have that freedom and that independence. And that creates a level of trust and respect. And so the mistake that I see companies making is that they lead through fear rather than respect. So let me tell you a quick story of an example of this. There's a company locally that I have begun talks with, and they think everything's great. Because everybody thinks that their company is great. We all do, right? And they don't see the blind spots because they're not privy to the secrets like I'm privy to the secrets that everybody's sharing with me, right? And they think, oh, everything's great, but I'm realizing that they're managing and they're leading through fear of a situation when an employee was offered a promotion and the employee said, I really don't want to change jobs. I actually don't want that promotion. I'm happy where I'm at. And then they came to the employee again and pressured the employee again. And the employee felt fear of if I don't accept this promotion, then I'm going to lose my job. That they'll think of me as ungrateful, or they think that the employee felt this pressure to say yes for fear of losing the job altogether. And so it's important to lead through respect rather than fear, because fear does not create a thriving work environment. Okay? So then last is to have their backs. So whether that's with fellow clients, whether that's in the community, whether that's in team meetings, if you're having a team meeting and you see that there's conflict between team members within the meeting, perhaps there's a project going on that they're not seeing eye to eye with, instead of taking sides of one person and the other, it's important as leaders to create a culture in which you say, I can see your point, I can see your point, how can we problem solve this? And within the community, for example, if a client calls and has a complaint, like I had a situation where a client called and the therapist was out and it was the holidays, and the client called and said, well, I need to talk to someone right now. And they were upset that their therapist was out of town and could not be reached. I wasn't going to throw my therapist under the bus and be like, oh yes, they should have answered your phone while they were out of town. Da, 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 da. No, I supported them and said, it's important for us to, as therapists, to be able to provide the best services. And in order to be able to do that, we also have to have time for rest and respite and things like that. How can I support you during this time of need? So I was able to step in and have my therapist back and support that client while at the same time supporting my therapist at the same time. So just remember that even in situations where somebody has a complaint, that you can take ownership if a mistake has been made, but without taking sides and without devaluing the other person's point of view. Okay? All right. So another example of having their backs is it's the same company actually. And so a situation came up around the holidays, and the company was requiring all employees to stay until while the office was open. Now, this one employee has family in town, that they only come in town, once every couple of years, and a very ill father. And what a missed opportunity for that leadership team to say to that employee, okay, yes, you can have this time away. It wasn't taking anything away from the company for that person to not be there. And so again, that was creating this, well, I'm not establishing trust. I don't have your back. I am having you stay here out of fear, rather than respecting your time with your family and respecting your situation and knowing the extenuating circumstances. So it was such a missed opportunity for that management staff to create trust. Because imagine how much that would mean to that employee to be able to leave and have vacation time during that time with the ailing parent and the extended family. Because who knows if they're going to have any more holidays like that, to be honest. And so if management would have granted that and have their employees back and be able to establish that trust, then you're creating a loyal relationship with that client or with that employee. That employee would then have been loyal because it would have meant so much to them. But instead, it was a missed opportunity. And now that employee feels like, I've been forced into a position I don't want out of fear, and I'm not valued and not respected because they're not being thoughtful of my circumstances. Okay, so remember, think about the meaning that it's going to have to you and the impact it's going to have to you, and think about the meaning it's going to have to your employee. Because if it doesn't take like minimal extra effort for you, but is going to have huge meaning for your employee, then go for it and do it. That's how you're going to establish trust. Okay, step 3 is personalization. So since my counseling center is mandated by insurance, I had to get creative. And so I offer my staff loyalty bonuses and performance bonuses. So a loyalty bonus is every year on their 1-year work anniversary, as I call it, so the anniversary of when they started working for me, I give them a personalized gift. And whether I've had employees ask for, gift cards to Umstead Spa. One employee loves horses and goes horseback riding every year. And so a friend of mine owns a horse farm and leases out horses. So I had a 3-month lease for that employee for that horse. So it's knowing who your employees are, knowing what is special and important to them. And people are going to say, oh, well, that's easy for you. You have a small team. Well, what about me when I have a huge team? You can make this easy for yourself too. And at the beginning of when you onboard an employee, you can just have them fill out a quick little 5 questionnaire of what are their interests. What is their favorite restaurant? What are their favorite hobbies? What do they love most to do on their time off? And you just put that in their file and you can reference back to that. One of my other employees, her favorite food is Italian. And so I got her a gift card to one of my favorite Italian restaurants that she had never been to. And I said, go with your family, enjoy this experience. And that was her personalized loyalty bonus for the year. And then every month I also have performance bonuses where they get, if they meet their performance marks, then they receive a bonus for that month. So another way to do this is what I'm running into when I work with companies is that management thinks that their employees are happy, but the secret is that the employees feel unappreciated and they don't feel valued. And where that's missing from is just by little itty bitty tweaks that make a big impact. And one of those tweaks is by the language of appreciation quiz. So have any of you heard of the love languages? If so, yay, like that makes my heart so happy. And if not, go check it out online. And it's a quick little quiz you can do online. You can actually download it on my website as a freebie if you want. So I'll give you that link at the end. And then you have the language of appreciation quiz, which is essentially your love languages within the workplace. And have your employees take that as part of the onboarding experience and then figure out what their top 2 language of appreciation is, and then make sure to speak to them in that language. If theirs is gifts, then buy a little small gift of appreciation. If theirs is words of appreciation, which a lot of times it is, then send out a email shout out that says that you appreciate them. Write a little thank you card, things like that. So it's these little thoughtful things that you can do, but do it in their language of appreciation. Because if you're expressing it in a language that doesn't match them, then that's a missed opportunity. It's a misconnection, okay? Number 3, thoughtful gifts. So that's, like I said, about having the personalization of knowing what is it that makes this employee tick. If for them it's, oh, I have young kids and I just want a day to myself, then get them that spa gift card. Get them that date night out with their spouse, like the gift card to the restaurant, things like that. So being thoughtful with the gifts. And then 4 is celebrate their wins. So another company that I was working with, they had this huge project that their team was working on. One of the teams in the company was working on for like a year. And it was another missed opportunity because the team had been working on this project. They were so stressed out. It was this whole year in the making. And then the project would finish, and then that was it. There was no celebration. There was no, hey, and the celebration doesn't have to be a ticker tape parade. The celebration can be, hey, that team, take a half day off or go take an extra long lunch as a team to celebrate your win. Like end today at 2 for, extra PTO, just free PTO, where you send that team out to lunch to celebrate that they stuck in for this whole year and finished this project strong. So remembering to celebrate their wins. And it doesn't have to be, elaborate, expensive. I understand that as entrepreneurs, a lot of times there is budgets and restraints. And so it just means getting more creative. It means thinking outside of the box. All righty, let's move on. So last but not least, it's the little things that create big impact. So things like, I'm aware of if my staff is sick, if they're having a tough time at home, if a loved one is ill, a parent or a spouse or a child. And so I will set myself a reminder on my calendar on my phone that says text on this day to check in, the surgery is happening on this day. And I'll just set myself a reminder. And it's this one little text that says, hey, thinking about you, how did the surgery go today? Hey, wanted to check in, how's your mom doing? Stuff like that. But that creates that connection. That helps them feel like that they belong to the company, that I see them, that I value them, and I'm grateful that they're here. Which brings me to the last thing. Emails stating what I appreciate about them and why. So I'm very clear with my staff of letting them know that because of them, I am able to stay at home with my kids. Because of them, I was able to take 5 months maternity leave when my son was born. Because of them, I was able to take my family on a Disney vacation this past summer. And even though I was on vacation, I was still getting the emails of the deposits of money going into my bank account. And that's because of them. Without them, I would not be able to do that. I would not have that freedom. I would not have that ability to be at home and be present with my children. And so I express that to them. And whether that's in an email, whether it's in their yearly card that says, here, I'm thankful for you. But I tell them what it is that they did and why I'm thankful for it. I'm so thankful that they provide such great services because that is what creates our reputation in the community. And like the fact that I have been able to experience these benefits is why I'm so passionate about sharing it with you, because I want you to experience these benefits too. And it's not just benefits that I'm receiving, but it's benefits that my employees receive. They express to me how appreciative they are that they work here, that how grateful for they are that I am the boss that I am, because their life is less stressful, because they feel supported, they feel appreciated, because when they leave the office, they're not taking home all the stress to their families and then taking it out on their families or yelling at their kids and being snippy at their kids because they're stressed out at work. They're appreciative too. And so it's that whole we are a community and we're in this together. So maybe ask yourself, when is the last time employees said to you that they are grateful that they work for you, that they are grateful for this company that they work with? What do they enjoy about working there and why? Because why is this so important? Because essentially this is a roadmap for creating an employee valued culture. And it's so important because the ripple effects are exponential. And I can say that with such confidence and clarity because I've experienced it firsthand. And I want you to be able to experience it too. Because the bottom line is, happy and loyal employees deliver superior services. And when they deliver superior services, then you have loyal and satisfied customers. And when you have loyal and satisfied customers, then you have increased sales and decreased headaches. It's the greatest marketing you can have without spending a dime. So word of mouth is king, and we've heard that before. And when you have happy and loyal employees, they deliver superior services. So then you do have satisfied and loyal customers that are raving about you. And you haven't had to spend a dime on that marketing. They're out there spreading word of mouth, talking about your company, talking about your brand, and you haven't spent a dime. You've just taken the time to create a relationship with your employees where they feel valued and appreciated so that they feel connected. They feel like they belong to your company. They enjoy where they work and they enjoy what they do and who they work for. So they work harder. They work happier. They deliver better services, which means increased money for you and decreased headaches. Who wouldn't want that, right? Okay, so just keep remembering that the ripple effects are exponential. I cannot say that enough. The benefits that I have received, if you need to go back to that ROI slide at the beginning, but the personal benefits that I have received, the fact that I can be at home and not be stressed out and not be worried and not expelling that mental energy worried about my company because I know that my team is solid. I know my team is trustworthy. I know my team is providing great services because we've created that culture within the company. It is absolutely priceless to have that freedom of time, that freedom of mental energy, and the freedom to be present and not have to be there all the time. It is huge. And I want that for you. Okay, so if you would like help would you like me to help you in building that company culture in your company? Or if you want to talk about this further, feel free to contact me. My number is on the screen along with my email address. And I would love to hear back from you on what your biggest takeaways are from this webinar. So comment if you're catching this on Facebook or email me directly. Connection is one of my biggest values. And so I'd love to hear from you. And if I can be of service to you and your organization so that you can experience the same freedom and so that your employees can experience the same satisfaction so that we can create these ripple effects for you and your family, for your employees and their families, that's what my mission is. That's what it's all about. So reach out for me and I will be happy to be of service to you on that. Until next time, thanks so much for joining me. And I'm going to stop the screen share so you can see my full face on here. So thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me on this webinar. And feel free to visit my website for even more resources and downloads, such as the Love Languages quiz. All right, thanks so much. Have a great one. And as always, until next time, remember to build what you need.